And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with the Game Boy Geek.
Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek. Hey, today we are going to be traveling all around the universe, through different moons, to different planets, beaming goods and fulfilling orders. Oh my, doesn't that sound like fun? Today we're taking a look at Stronghold Games' Time and Space, which is a real-time sort of pick up and deliver type of game. It's very interesting. It uses sand timers. It's a time game that lasts exactly 30 minutes. Plays for 3 to 4 players. Let's check it out, show you how unique this is, and tell you what I think. When setting Time and Space up, you can see here that we've got 4 players, 4 different colors. If you're playing with 3 players, the board flips over and the board's a little bit different, and purple is not used. At the beginning of the game, everybody gets 2 sand timers, their own personal board, and they get their own little personal fleet plane. Look how cool this thing is. Over the game, what you're trying to do is get your fleet to move to other planets. You're trying to produce goods, and in this case the goods are medicine, technology, luxury, and raw goods. You're trying to produce those, and then you're trying to beam them to other planets while you're on them. So let's take a look about how these actions happen. So at the beginning of the game we have our resources here, and we have counts of 1, 2, and 3, and there's 3 1s, 2 2s, and 1 3 of every resource. Also notice that each of these has my little symbol. This is the red symbol. And each of these have red, so we know whose counters end up in whose pot at the end of the game. So here's your main board that you're going to be playing off of. And let's split it up into 3 sections. Well, first of all, at the beginning of the game, you're going to secretly take 2 of these counters, any one of them, and secretly and simultaneously you place them in any 2 production spots. Now, production spots are any places where you see these little silver outlines on. So I'm going to take 2 of them, and let's just say I put 2 of them here for now. Now let's talk about the different stations here. This whole beige section here is what we call the production section. So for the production plant, you take one of your timers, you place it in any one of these 4 timer spots. Let's just say we did the silver one here, and the timer's going to go for 1 minute. Once this timer is all the way completed, you pull the timer up and you put the good there. So now, here's the orders that I'm asking for other competitors to come to my planet and fulfill. But you look at the other boards of the other competitors and see which ones they have. They might have blue and yellow as well, but they might have brown or silver. You have to look and see what they're asking for and produce those goods. Once the goods are produced, you can then move them to your beaming stations. Now these 2 are covered because those are the ones we covered at first, those production sites. But we could put a timer here. And once this timer goes down, we could move up to 2 of those, any produced goods. Let's say we also had put a timer here for a minute, and now we have these 2 goods, and then we put a timer here, and once this one is done, we can then move these to the beam stations. So that we have production here where we create goods. The beam stations bring them to the beaming stations, and now we'll talk about delivering. Let's say I want to go over to the blue planet. I would take my timer and put it right in my ship, and put it in between where I'm going in the direction that I'm heading. Once that timer has gone all the way down, you can lift the timer up and go to this next moon. Now when you get to the moon, there's all these different tiles that are there. And you have to take the top one and then decide whether you want to put it on your board in the research plant or just skip it and put it at the bottom of the pile. We'll talk about those later. So again, we would then take an empty timer, put it on my ship, we would wait for a minute to come up, we'd get to the next moon, we'd get an empty timer, put it on our ship, and then we would finally get to that moon. Once we are at the planet, once we're at the blue planet, we can then beam goods. So on the blue player's board, let's say he had a silver and a yellow order for 1 apiece. Since we're on his planet, we would simply show him that we have it, we're completing those orders, we would put these back into the resource pile, and he would give us those orders. So once we're at his planet and we've beamed them over there, we exchange those goods for his counters. Notice they have the blue symbol on them showing that that's who we got them for, and we gave them 1 yellow and 1 silver, and this would go below our mat to keep them separate from the ones above our mat. Also, if I was the first person to fulfill an order at that person's planet, I would get the 3-point bonus that starts on everybody's planet. The first person there gets that bonus. So what happens if over time we've fulfilled this order, we fulfilled this order, someone else has fulfilled those from the other teams or the other players, and now this is blank and I have no order, so nobody's going to be coming to my planet. What do? Well, I take one of my empty timers and I can put them on the trading station. And so what this will do is once this is up, I can place one order counter on any production spot. So let's say the minute was over, I can take one of these and put it on any one of these production spots. And maybe I had another timer here for a minute, it got done, and maybe I take this and maybe I cover up yellow. So that's how you get more orders to get ready for people to fulfill. So what happened if I would have taken one of these tiles at the moon? Let's talk about how these work in the research plant. Well, we would have placed it right here where this sign is here for the research plant. And I would place my timer here, assuming it was done. I wait for a minute, and once this minute's over, I can now place this on any spot on my board. It does not even have to be in the same production spot. I could actually cover up something else. It doesn't matter as long as it's empty. I can't cover something, but as long as it's empty, I can put it anywhere. So I could actually have more production spots than beaming spots if I want to. So what this allows me to do is, let's say I put it over here, instead of just getting one blue resource when I put my timer there, now when I put my timer there and it waits a minute and it's done, I will get a blue and a yellow. Now you can also upgrade, this is called a stage 2, you see number 2 there. Now if I put my timer there and I wait another minute and I choose to, instead of getting both of these production resources added here, I can flip this, instead of getting the production, to flip it to stage 3, which now I get 3 resources if I go there. So over time you're producing goods, you're moving them to the beaming stations, you're creating more orders when yours get fulfilled and they're gone. You're they're flying to other people's planets to then beam these to other people's goods to get points. And of course, all of this is timed. Here I have my iPad and I can download the Stronghold Games app. We go to time and space. We can start the game clock and start the 30-minute full game. And it's got a cool soundtrack and it counts down. 30 minutes left. At every sort of increments, it tells you how much time's left. It has a cool soundtrack. So you can always look and see how much time's left during the game. In the final scoring of the game, once it's over, we look at what you've scored because these were placed underneath your board. And we've got some silver ones. And we notice we have 1, 2, 3. We also notice that we have at least one from 2 different competitors. We have the green guy and the blue guy. For every guy that you've got, every different player that you've gotten this from, you do a multiplier. So I have 3, and I got them from 2 different people, so it's 3 times 2. This is worth 6 points. Now, over here we have 1 plus 1 is 2, and we've got 2 different people, so it'd be 2 times 2, which is 4 points. So this would be, 10 total points there. However, at the top, we see that we have not gotten rid of yellow or brown. If we have any yellow or brown that are scored here, they completely get removed and we don't get to score them. So in this case, these yellow ones would get removed because I did not finish and get all of my yellow orders off of above my board and onto my board. As long as they're off the top of the board and actually on the board, you're fine. But if you have not gotten rid of them, nothing of that color scores anything for you. Once you've taken those off, everybody adds up the points that are left, and the one who has the highest points is the winner. And of course, it only takes 30 minutes exactly to play the game. All right, well, there is time and space. Stronghold Games has been getting really good about making these experience games, Article 27, Space Cadets, things that are where it's hard to explain or hard to show you in a video how it really plays without actually being there, sitting down and experiencing it. So if the video didn't show you, it doesn't really give you the flavor of how it feels. This is definitely a feeling and an experience game. You just have to experience it. I really did like it. It's very enjoyable. It is staying in my collection because I don't have anything like it. It's just very unique. I love how it plays in just 30 minutes. Boom, you got the timer there, and believe me, the 30 minutes feels like a snap. It feels like it's over in a minute. So it's really interesting is when you start this game, you look at what people have and you're trying to figure out some strategies and you put your sand timers there. For like the first 2 or 3 movements, you're just kind of like sitting there twiddling your thumbs, like looking at the other people. It's kind of awkward. It's kind of weird. But then like before you know it, your brain is just burning on what should I be doing? What should I be focusing on? What orders do they want? Which one? You have all these decisions to make and they're hard and you got to make it and you stick that timer there and you're just kind of stuck there for a minute, whether you made a good decision or not. So you're going to pay for it if you didn't. I love that aspect. Very brain burnery. The iPad app for this thing is awesome. It's got some really cool music. It helps you through the timing of it so you can always see where you're at. Very interesting idea. I loved how sort of you kind of have to like team up with another person or not to kind of keep using the same goods, because you got to get rid of all the colors that you're scoring at the end or it doesn't score for you. So overall, I loved it. Gave you tons to think about. Every game we played was very different. Every time we played with the same people or different people, we always learned different things about different strategies. So I think it's a game that has a lot of depth. I think it's a game that will have a lot of replay value. And I love that it's quick, 30 minutes. Yeah, I'm not gonna play this with my non-gamer friends because it would probably make their head blow off. You know, there's a lot of little rules you gotta teach and symbols and things like that. And so it's, you know, it's a gamer's game, but it's a sort of a filler gamer's game at 30 minutes. It's a very unique experience. I really liked it. Good job, Stronghold Games. If this looks interesting to you at all, you gotta check it out or try it out, because it's one of those games that you really gotta play and experience to get that feeling of how cool this is. I liked Time and Space. Check it out now.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.